My name is Jay again. My last name is Shia. I'm the owner of a small business in Boston, Madhouse Motors, where we build motorcycles, and I am a single parent to an 11-year-old. Um, this 11-year-old was born when I was 19 years old at Cambridge Hospital, and I was there with his biological mother when he was born. I actually named him. Um, Now, this is when I was 19. I was kind of just a kid without resources really to figure out how to go about, being a legal part of his life. Now, fast forward, now I'm a young adult with all these resources. I still have a hard time figuring out how to be a legal parent, which is sort of why I'm here. Um, so for his upbringing, and I can't kind of give the whole explanation of his life, but in a nutshell, his biological mother wasn't there for her own reasons, and so I was left to help take care of this kid and to raise him. Bring him to school. He was born 2 weeks before my first day of college with this young kid who I had no way of proving my relationship to. And no matter what I did or how often I was seen with him, every time I tried to bring him to a doctor's appointment or sign him up for daycare, or he has an ear infection or whatever it may be, every time I have tried, and even still to this day, 11 years later, try to be a parent, I'm questioned on my parental status. So fast forward to when he's 5 or 6, social services starts to get involved, asking where the biological parent is. They get wind that he's being raised without his biological parent, and push comes to shove, he winds up back with the biological parent for a brief amount of time. And then within a week or so, he was in foster care for negligence. Now he's in foster care with a sibling of his, and I can't get him out, even though I've raised him since the day he was born, because I am a nobody. I'm not a parent. I'm not a grandparent. I'm not a foster parent. He wasn't up for adoption. I'm just this person who, de facto, has raised this kid. With many thanks to Joyce Kaufman, who was my lawyer, who's a big part of this whole movement, we wound up digging into the court system and filing for myself as a de facto parent, even though Massachusetts doesn't really honor it. We're using the parameters of it being a de facto parent to prove that this kid was being parented by me. A year later, after him being in foster care and going back and forth to court, I'm finally granted guardianship. Guardianship, which I've realized now, is basically just being a glorified babysitter. The state still hasn't granted me to be a parent. I have basically no legal rights. I'm a glorified babysitter of a child who's still the ward of the state. This means I can't get any benefits for him. Every time I travel, in my wallet here, I have his guardianship form in case we're ever pulled over. We don't look the same. Every doctor's appointment, I need to, show who I am, health insurance, etc. For a kid that I have raised since the day he was born. Now, I'll give it a brief example of why a law like this would benefit someone like myself or other people. I recently filed for him to get a passport. He's a U.S. citizen, born in the U.S., who, by his right of being a citizen here, should be able to get a passport. It took me 6 months, going to court twice, getting social services involved, going to the post office 3 times, having notaries come with me to have the bio-mom stamp things. It took me all of these hoops to jump through to get a kid who was born in the U.S. a passport, because I had no parental rights. I had to continue to go back to the biological parent, which seems completely backwards for a multitude of reasons, because I'm the one who's raising the child. And it's things like this, small things like this, that you wouldn't realize are such a monstrosity or a gray cloud over a parent's life, that a law like this would help. His school is asking for a passport. He's asking for identification. And I can't do this simply because this state doesn't view me as a parent. And it's moments like that that have happened over the past 11 years that you would think in a progressive state like Massachusetts wouldn't happen. But it happens to me on the daily. I get pulled over for a blinker, I'm feeling insecure about who the kid is in the back, even though I raised him. They don't view me as a parent, and it's been a long road, and laws like this kind of make me excited for the future, and I hope that there's more movement and more push so that people like myself or surrogates or people in the LGBTQ community can stand next to their kid without feeling insecurity of being questioned legally. And yeah, it has my full support, and I think all my friends have full support, and that's just a tidbit of my story.